Okay, hello again, everyone. This is the second chapter of human biology. We are going to understand in this chapter the chemistry of living things, and we are going to see um, very lightly parts of the chemistry, and it will be totally different and totally lighter than what anatomy and physiology students are usually seeing. So let's go. Let's get some introductions, starting with chemistry. Chemistry is the study of matter and energy. Matter itself is anything that has mass and occupies a space, and matter is usually composed of elements. Think of matter as, for example, water, gases, any solid objects, even atoms, very tiny structures or building units of everything in on Earth is a matter, and we are going to examine that. So anything has mass and takes a space, we will say that this is a matter. Then we need energy also. Energy is the power to do the work. Now, the elements are very tiny structures, and these cannot be broken down to a simpler form. And we have the periodic table of elements that list all of known elements, and this is something you can see on your book in figure 2.1. Okay, now these are basic structures of atoms, which are, as I said, or maybe I didn't say, I forgot. These are the basic structures of matter. These atoms, we cannot break them to simpler forms. If we are going to break them, we need a huge amount of energy, and that would be in form of atomic bomb or hydrogen bomb and something like this. But in our normal life, in our normal condition or under normal conditions, these cannot be broken down to a simpler form. We cannot release these contents from these structures without a massive amount of energy or power. So what do we have here? In all of them, all of these atoms, they share very similar concepts. That in the middle, they have nucleus. Within these nucleus, there are tiny things. Usually there are protons. Here on this diagram, these are the red balls. These protons have positive charge and they have a mass. Okay, so protons positively charged and they have mass, that is weight. Also there are these yellow balls. These are called neutrons. Neutrons, they are neutral, meaning they don't have any charge. There is no charge with them. Okay, but still they have mass, and this mass is usually equal to the mass of the protons. So these are very, think of them, they are very heavy subatomic particles. One of them is positive, the other one is neutral, doesn't have any a charge on it, and both of them usually will be located within the nucleus. Within the nucleus. Now, some atoms, like hydrogen for example, they don't have any neutrons. They contain only proton. It's one proton, and that's fine. Some atoms, they have different numbers of neutrons, and that is also fine. So in our study, we are not going to concern much about the neutrons. We are not going to heavily study them. Even we are not going to heavily study the protons. We will care more about the third part, which is the electrons. The electrons are tiny, they are small. we can say they have no mass. Technically, they do have mass, but it's super tiny, super small. Importantly, they have negative charge. They have negative charge. So electrons have negative charge, protons have positive charge, and usually number of protons equals the number of electrons. That is, the normal situation, that we have certain numbers of positive ions, of positive charges, let's say 3 or 4. Then, on the other hand, we should have 3 negative electrons. So the net charge is 0, that is neutral. So the overall net charge of sodium, for example, is 0. The same one for oxygen is 0. The same one for hydrogen. Hydrogen has one proton, that is one positive, and one electron, that is one negative. So they will equalize each other. Oxygen, it has 8 protons and 8 electrons. 8 positive charged and subatomic particles, and 8 negative charged subatomic particles. So this will make them 0. And that is the case for many of these atoms. They are neutrally charged. Now, another thing about these electrons, as you can see, they are running around the nucleus. You won't find any electron getting into the nucleus, okay? Because these are, think of them, these are big bodies. They always like to be together, but they don't want the small, small kids or small bodies to get into their, let's say, party. So usually there is a distance between the electron and the nucleus, and these electrons are spinning around the nucleus. Okay, think of them, they are looking for a way to get into the nucleus. That is not real, but just for simplicity, that's what we are going to say. So these electrons are spinning around the nucleus. Okay, they are spinning around the nucleus and they cannot get into it. Now, because there is positive charge and negative charge, there is kind of attraction force between them that would prevent the electrons from going away, but also it will prevent electrons from getting into the nucleus. The other thing, notice, let's clear some of these markings. Maybe if we go, yep, oops, no. Okay, so as you can see here, let's put them in red. There are layers of electrons. There is one electron here. There are like maybe 8 electrons on the second layer, and there is one electron on the third layer. So there are layers around the nucleus where these electrons can spin within them. Think of these layers as energy layers. Okay, these are energy layers. Usually electrons are sitting in these different layers of energy depending on how much these electrons have energy. So usually the more energy the electron has, the more far will be from the nucleus. So this electron has more energy comparing to this electron, for example. Okay, and so on. And based on that would determine whether the the atoms are stable or not. I will pause here, I will stop here. This is the first part. I need you to go over all of these things and try to make a sense out of it. Check on the forum if there is any question that you can answer related to it, or if you have any question that you might raise for your friends so they can answer it. Okay, we will pause here and we will come in the second part.